a lot of classic skiing, and I would say that classic skiing is really where it starts, and we kind of built skating off of classic skiing, right? So classic skiing was the first iteration of skiing and how we propelled ourselves, and the most important thing is that we remain similar to skating in that supple kind of lower body, ankle, knees, hips. Everything is supple, okay? So there's nothing that's, if you will, locked here, here, or here, okay? This is a locked out look when everything is straight. And at the likewise, we don't have something straight and something bent. So do you see how now my ankles are straight, but my knees are bent and my hips are bent, but it looks like I'm sitting on a chair, right? We don't want that. We want to be in a position here. A good analogy is if you took your pole, which you have now, you kind of dropped it at your heel, your butt should be in front of it in this position, okay? So I want you to even think a little bit more, that your upper body too is a little bit more there. Good. So let me just kind of take a look at you guys from the side. If you don't mind turning sideways and showing me that position. Yeah, whichever side is your better side. Good. So come a little bit more forward with the upper body. A little bit. There. Good. Let's see. That was great. Let's see. Good. That's good. That's good. And kind of start moving into this. I think you felt this a little bit in the movement, was that as soon as you start doing that, you should feel like you almost kind of fall forward. So if you have good ankle flexion, good supple knees, and you have good sort of similar angle between your upper body and your shins, you actually kind of fall forward. Does anyone feel that when they're doing it? So you should feel like you're kind of falling forward and catching yourself a bit. Okay, and then that would be similar to the classic stride that we're going to learn about. But now let's talk about it in terms of double pole. So I want everyone to put their poles on. And again, I want you to be in that same position, but what I want you to think about a double pole stroke, okay? So I'm going to be in that similar position, and I'm just going to bring my hands up and plant my poles so that my poles are planting vertical or perpendicular, if you will, to the ground, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to bring the poles up, plant them in that vertical position, and I want you to hold it. And you should feel like you're slightly on the balls of your feet. You should feel like you have, see my ankle flexion, see my knees are supple, and see my kind of forward lean at my upper body, and you should feel that in your core and in your lats trying to brace you. So it should be a core and lat. Next thing we're going to talk about is the kick and where the kick comes from and when the kick should happen, okay? So the kick, just like in skating again, and all kind of relating to the lower body and the different, what I like to think of are, everything is a different spring or a different lever, and what we can shorten, if you think of a spring as shortening it and then let it release, right? There's a couple different things we're gonna do here. So we have underneath our ski kind of sits up at a camber, right? We have a camber and we have a flex, and so there's a little bit of an arc to the ski, and then the amount of pressure it takes to close the ski, right, is part of the flex. So what we want to consider in our minds is we need to close that pocket right underneath our foot, right? We don't want to close it behind our foot. We want to close it straight down. And so to do that, we need to be in a nice high position to drop all of that weight down. So, you know, we use analogies like squishing a bug, or if you think of a scale beneath you, watching the scale kind of make a, make a big jump up in power, basically, measurement. So what I want you guys to think about is to stand and then boom, drop, with the drop coming from the ankle. Kick down and drive, but I want the next part of this drive to kind of mimic the same thing we talked about in the double pull, which is I want this butt to still be slightly in front of the other skis. So it's gonna look like this. You're gonna drop down and bring your whole body forward, okay? So it's drop and come with that butt, if you will. Don't let that butt stay back. Everyone feel like you're moving forward with the entire body. Good, good. So let's tie it together. Grab your poles. What I want it to look like is set, go, set, go, set, go, set, go, set, go. Shuffle, shuffle, glide. Shuffle, shuffle, glide. Shuffle, shuffle, glide. Shuffle, shuffle, glide. This is a real good drill when you're on snow. And it's a lot easier when you're on roller skis, because whether or not you're actually kicking the right way, you're gonna have a ratchet that gives you that kick. So I want you to feel here, those hips staying forward, and just little tiny shuffle steps. Everyone's relaxed? Relax, good. Swinging the arms, there's a natural tendency to drop at our ankles if you notice, right?
Yep.
When the hand comes through, we have a little whoop, whoop, whoop. Use that when you're kicking, okay? Good. Relax the arms, good. Good. Chuck, get a little bit more extension there. So making sure we're opening this angle here. Yeah.
It's a good dance move.
It is a really, really high quality dance move.
Yeah, I mean, they're good.
We don't want the poles to be added and then suddenly it allows you to get away with not worrying about your lower body and just muscling your way through it with your arms. Does that make sense? So you have some nods of, yeah, we understand that. So if you're strong, you can get away with it. What we want you to what we want you to do is we want the two parts to make you even faster, not the one part to mask the other part not being done right. Does that make sense? So for the arms again, nice swing. Now that you have poles in your hands, nothing is different. Same nice relaxed swing. We're gonna start the same way we did just a second ago, little short shuffle steps and then opening it up. When you plant the pole, I want the pole to come in and the pole is gonna plant. This is something that I think is really important. The pole is gonna plant vertically here, okay? I don't want the pole to plant here and I don't want the pole to come through, hit here, and then plant. I want you to bring that pole through and you're swinging it, and when you swing it, I want it to plant almost vertically. If you shoot for about vertical, you will probably be about here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because you're always moving. And so by the time you think, oh, plant my pole vertical, you've already caught up to it and you're here. If you don't think about that, you're gonna plant it back here. Make sense? Okay. So next thing I want you to do is I want you to think about the timing of the pole plant. And one technique that I've learned and I really like, does anyone know who Sten Feldheim is? I bet Gita. Oh yeah, okay. So his cue here was that if you're gliding, you're actually gonna set the pole right before the kick. So slightly before the kick is when the pole being set means you feel again that same thing we talked about in the double pole, my catch.